Okay, please continue. So I also have a question. So
Mhm.
you say that you turn to short-term rental because you also want to avoid eviction and all this problem that you have to deal with long-term tenants, right?
Yeah, it's also not just that. Short-term rental was great source of income rather than long-term
Hmm.
rentals in general. And we wanted to deal with professionals and travelers and just out of state, out of country travelers who could utilize our space. So in the beginning, it was just more of an income thing, and then later on, we realized that we have more control of the property, and that we enjoy doing the short-term rentals than long-term rentals. We did
Hmm.
look into, giving more of like affordable housing, so like
Hmm.
Section 8 and things like that.
Hmm.
Um, but so far, right now, we are more heavily invested in short-term rentals currently.
Cool.
Yeah. So doing that, we just continue to do, BRRRR strategy, right? Which is buy, repair, rent, refinance, and repeat. Um, or fix and hold. So I really didn't know what BRRRR was before, or fix and
Hmm.
hold was, and I just continued to buy and just getting it rented. And later I realized that, oh, this is what I'm doing. I'm refinancing it, cash out refinancing, and I'm utilizing that money for the next projects, and just the cycle goes on, right?
Hmm.
And
So
here's mhm.
how many projects have you been doing since you started?
Oh wow, I never really counted, but um I guess I don't want to say a number because I have no clue. I never counted the number of projects that I've done. But as far as like the door wise, right? Not the properties, I guess I've done at least 150 units in total.
That's
But
awesome.
again, I have no clue. I should count it one day and then be like, hey, I have a track record of X amount of, because, there's some flips that I've done. There's some deals
Hmm.
that I closed and I sold that I'm not sure how many property wise that I've done,
Hmm.
but it was enough to understand the BRRRR process and the
Hmm.
constructions. And we're not really afraid of any any type of construction, as far as like it's smaller multifamily, residential, smaller commercial constructions.
And you guys like even build from the ground up, or you should fix whatever existing?
Yeah, so the way we got into new construction was interesting because in Philadelphia, I'm pretty sure some of the Philly folks would know this, is that back in 2014, 15, there were a lot of lands that were cheaper. Even in, one of the hottest area is South Philadelphia at 19145, 19146, and 47. So Grace Ferry, Point Breeze area where was it Tony? Tony lives there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a very nice area. So we started buying lands that were available for cheaper prices. And when that land area started appreciating, we're like, what are we gonna do with this land? Should we sell it, or should we build it? And we
Hmm.
didn't have any, intention to sell it. So I said, okay, well, let's build it. So Andre and I started, just knocking onto hard money lenders,
Hmm.
programs. And then we did our first new construction without really thinking, okay, we're gonna do new construction. We just went ahead, did it. And then the
Hmm.
first one it had a lot of up and down because we didn't really have like a mentor to tell
Hmm.
us do this, do that. We just went
Yeah.
on, we've done full gut rehabs a couple of times before, but when we did a new construction, it was more intensive as far as like the entire process. But at the end of the day, now that I think about it, it wasn't even that hard. And once you get one done, I mean, and I'm talking about like smaller residential, smaller multifamilies, right? If you deal with commercial or like bunch of units and it's a bigger building and you have to do like phase 1, phase 2 environmental studies and all of that. Now that might be easier. I mean, Chloe here is a developer. It might be easier because we give the developer the work, right? So they take
Hmm.
care of it. But other projects that are smaller, I'm the GC on it. So I
Hmm.
have to be the one who's doing the paperwork and all the other stuff. So yeah,
Permitting and all of that.
permits, licensing, and any rules that we have to follow, safety. insurance, all the fun stuff, you know.
Wow. So that's like mind blowing because like a lot of people tell me, like Chloe told me, oh yeah, a build from the ground up is even easier than rehabbing. But I never done it. So I think it's, it's 2 years of work is something like I don't want to sign up for. And I feel like it's more difficult compared to like a 3-month project that I'm checking even, you know.
I just think that it's just all the whatever work you have to do with the full rehab plus foundation. That's really what it is. But you end up with, I guess, new construction property, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe you will be hit with the, taxes. I mean, we in Philly had a 10-year tax abatement, which right now I think they reduced and not doing it anymore, but they did have it before for the new development. But I don't really think that, some people ask me like, oh, I used to think new construction was hard. So I had a Vietnamese lady who was a real estate investor too. And then she also, she was doing new construction down in South Philly. And I asked her like, oh, I wish I knew how to do it. And she's like, it's easy, Susan. There's nothing hard about it. I'm like, this lady is so brave. And but then later I realized that she was right. It's not like that. It's not like that crazy. It's just really about what kind of people you are going to be working with, having the right contract, having the right the time frames and the money allocation. It's all about the numbers, right? So
Yeah.
in order for you to finish it within the specific time frame, the holding costs and everything, you want to do very conservative number approaches and see if you're still making money, right? So that's really what it is, I feel.
That's awesome. So back to the BRRR. So you can also refinance and everything, even it's a new construction, right?
Sure, yeah. Because usually when we do new constructions, any construction portion, we would buy it with hard money lending. So and then once the construction is finished, then that's when you do a cash out refinance. Hi, Henry. Yeah.
So yeah, I
Hello.
think Henry's here.
Hi.
Hey.
Is it a friend of Susan?
Huh?
Is a friend of you, Susan?
Yeah, Henry is another investor. He also builds too. In the which area was it? What was the name? It's in California.
Yeah, it's in Fresno and San Diego.
Oh, Fresno, San Diego. Awesome. Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Cool. So we're talking about the development right here. So you cash out refinance after you build, after you put the tenants in, right?
Right. You finish the construction, you do the final inspection, you get the all the rental, whatever that's needed for that specific township and the city. And then you get the leases. And once you have the leases, you go to the bank and say, hey, this is the projected amount that I will be earning from this property. Residential, same thing. Commercial is the same thing. Although the amount of money that I get for the lease is very important, right? So because that determines the value of the property. So commercial, I enjoy doing it, which I'm going to share the numbers, which is really fun. Like the numbers that I can deal with with repurposing residential properties into commercial.
Wow.
It's really fun because the approach for the appraisal is different. Residential is the comparable values around the area. Commercial is literally NOI, right? So I mean, there's cap rates and all that stuff, but still, it depends on how much money I can get it for.
So we have a question right here, like Minche asked, how does it exactly work? The pipeline from Harmony Lending to cash out refinance, and is the term for Harmony Lending short?
So hard money lending, it really means it's a bunch of private money lenders put in a fund, right? And then it's like a debt fund where they are lending you money, right? And usually it's very short, anywhere between 8 to 12 months. I do know that they underwrite it for as if it was 18 months or 24 months, 1.5 years to 2 years. So they're short-term loans. Their rates are much, much higher, anywhere between 8 to 12%. At this market, maybe even higher, right? So so real quick, the hard money lenders, as you see on the screen, the lenders that I work with in general, they give you 65% of loan to value of that has to include the purchase price and construction cost. And it depends on the lender that you work with. They might give you, like, let's say 75% of the purchase price and 100% construction cost. What that means is if the purchase price 100,000 and the construction cost is going to be another 100,000, but once you fix it, let's say the property is worth 400,000, right? So what that means is, let's say 400,000 times by 65%, this is the amount of money that the lender is able to approve you for, right? Doesn't mean they will approve you everything, but this is at least their guideline. And then we know the construction cost is going to be 100,000 per se. And then let's say this lender is willing to give you 100% of the construction cost. So that's that. And then now you have 160,000 left. So as long as the purchase price fits the number. So in this case, my lender gives me 100% of purchase price and construction cost. It's also because, they are 100% lender, but also, like, I've been working with them for 2 to 3 years. So they know that I've done many cycles of loans for them, right? So, but a lot of times there are lenders who would give you, like, let's say, 85% of the purchase price, meaning that they will lend you $85,000 if the purchase price was 100,000. So that's what the hard money lender. And then this is beautiful when you have to do a lot of flips. If you have certain amount of money, right? And then you want to do one deal a year, maybe hard money lending, it might not be the best option for you. But if you're doing 2, 3, 4, 5 different projects every month, for us, hard money lending made sense to have the speed and just, quick money turns, right?
That's awesome. And do you do a lot of hard money lending, or you also have private lenders who lending to your projects?
For us, we really haven't tapped into private lenders yet. We do have private lenders of our friends and family that just kind of lend on to some just to get the money back, right? Like as a debt partner. So, if you give me 100,000, I'll give you 110,000 by the end of whatever, agreement, right? So other than that, I haven't really done a whole entire deal with somebody putting everything. Although Andre and I are thinking about, and maybe even with Eliza, is that we were discussing about creating a debt fund. So these hard money lenders are debt fund people, and they're the ones the fund managers are the ones who's producing loans, right? They're just risk assessing these borrowers, and then just lending money on interest only payments on construction loans. So we are thinking about doing that, although it's in process.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, putting together a fund would help you guys a lot in the process, right? Because you don't have to like put application again, but you have a fund and you should kind of like fund yourself and your own project, and just the role is gonna be like even more than this.
Yeah. So just to wrap up the question for Minjae, is that so once you get the hard money lending to buy the property and then fix the property, you have to, once you finish the construction, let's say, and then you do a cash out refinance so what you do is you buy it, right? Let me go back. You buy it, you repair it, you finish the construction, and then you have to rent it out to people. Once you get the leases on your hand, you go to the bank and say, hey, I need to refinance this loan. It's on a short-term loan. Give me cash out on a 75%, right? That's the general percentage. And then they will do a cash out refi and give you the money back, right? Basically. So at the end of the day, except for closing costs and holding costs, everything is just financed. It's a lot faster. Instead of you spending $200,000 of your own cash, you're spending maybe 20 to 40,000, or maybe a little more. It depends on the loan amount. and then you're able to do like 2 or 3 more deals than doing one deal just for
Oh,
that.
yeah, leverage, right?
Mhm.
So other people money. That's how you can, grow so much in real estate. And
Absolutely,
yeah.
100%. Yeah.
And
So
how many you might ask, like, how many projects you guys have per month?
usually when I'm just finding out, okay, how many projects do I have like this month? It's usually 3 to 5 different projects. Like right now we're working on a new construction near Grace Ferry, right across the river from like the Pico or the Chop building. It's on the water.
Mhm.
There's one new construction that we just finished in Point Breeze. Then there's just single family home flip that we're doing in South
Mhm.
Philly as well. And there's a big project, which I think I might have this one is the one that I am doing right now on
Wow.
it's a commercial building. It's 2 buildings. It's the
Mhm.
corner building and the building next door. So we're doing that constructions.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm forgetting anything. But that's why you have a partner, aka my husband in this case.
In terms of you and your husband, like, do you guys divide things in the business that you in charge of and make decision for?
um yeah, I mean, I believe that we're kind of like cross-trained, right? So one person can take care of everything if the other one doesn't want to work. But he takes care of a lot of construction costs, right? So a lot of people that we hire either speak Spanish or they're guys. So
Mhm.
I'm not taken very seriously when I'm at the site. So I try to stay quiet, and some people actually take it very offensively if I tell them what to do. So I try to be very careful with that because I don't mind as long as the property is being finished, right?
Mhm.
So he takes care of a lot of that, and then he's good at closing deals. So he acquire a lot of properties and just writing the right language in the contract. He's also a real estate agent in Pennsylvania, so he does all of that. I do the rest. I do the bank talk, preparing the documents for the bank, getting people to work, just different things, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Yeah,
Ben asked something.
Ben asked something, but I'm gonna save it for later. Let you go
Okay.
through your thing first, and then we're gonna ask those. Is it okay,
Okay.
Ben?
Sure.
Yeah.
So yeah. So do you want me to go over some numbers with some
For
examples?
sure. Yeah.
Okay, but Minje, did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, cool. So when you are doing purchase price plus construction cost ARV 65%, the reason being is usually when they do a cash out refinance, 25% is a cushion they're taking, the lenders. So 75% of the ARV would be the cash out that you're getting. If you sell it, of course, whatever the 35% that you can make the profit with is your profit. So for example, this one big property that I bought in the heart of Philadelphia, North Philadelphia, and this was a quick deal because if you can see in the picture, what happened with them was they fixed everything, almost everything, but they ran out of money. It even had like a new kitchen and stuff. So they ran out of money, so they sold it at 122,500. But
Wow.
this property was appraised for 275, and this was back in 2021. So maybe it's higher now. So the rough calculation was that 275 times 25%, which is $206,000 that the bank is willing to lend us. So minus the payoff amount of 122,000, because to fix this house, it was very quick. It was like just a couple of $10,000. And then, so we had a very quick 83,000 minus the closing costs, utilities, or whatever, the fees that we were able to cash out on this one. The next one, I love this deal. I still have it. It's making good money.
Wow.
So far, right? Market's
Mhm.
going down, so there are some stuff going on, but This was back in 22. So this house was being used like more like a residential property. So they had a church on the first floor, and the lady lived in there. So it was not being used as a commercial property, really. So she's the one who was running the church and who lived there, and then another tenant lived there, whatever. So this house, she was selling it for 265. It did need a lot of work. We did put about 100 something thousand in it. So, but then the beauty of this one was that it was appraised for $910,000 for this property.
Wow,
And
that's like how many times? Like 3, 4 times?
so yeah, so this is 19122, which is Norris Square, very next to Fishtown area. So it's like
Oh
up
yeah.
and coming area.
Mhm.
So it was sold, we bought it at 265. And then another good thing is that we got a really good loan too. It was a local bank, WSFS Bank, Westfist. And Ben, I did this with Dawn. That's why he calls me dear customer.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So $910,000 times 75% is 682. I did not cash out everything because I didn't want to be in the debt too much. So I only cashed out whatever I needed. But if I were to do 75%, it would have been $682,000 on the loan amount minus $265,000 that I bought it for, and then minus the construction cost 100,000, and then you can cash out as 317,000. So
It's more than the purchase price.
yeah, so it's not only you just came up with the what do you call that, the closing cost, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm saying is not only that you only had to spend the closing cost to really, and then some operational cost to really finish this project, but also you're getting profit out of after you cash out. And then the beauty of this is that cash out refinance, when you cash it out, it's basically tax-free money, right? It's a borrowed money. You have to pay
Totally.
back, right? When you sell it, it's your profit, so you take the capital gain. So it depends
Mhm.
on what your strategies are. We decided to keep it, and we like it, and we hope to get it appraised more later.
So what you did there, did you convert it into a commercial property?
No, so the property, so that's a good question. The property itself was already a commercial property. So
Mhm.
that's what we, so when you are repurposing stuff, there's two different ways. One is that you can literally buy a residential property. Maybe it's a 1 unit, and then you're applying the variance, zoning variance as 2 units, right? But it's
Mhm.
a long process. Unless it really makes sense, people don't do it because it doesn't make sense to hold it, or that amount of money. But another thing is when you know the zoning, and then this is not being used to its full extent. For example, let's say if you are given a property, in here we have something called RM1, so that's a residential multifamily. If the property was being used as a duplex, but there's guideline for Philadelphia zoning guide, and you can divide the numbers, and then you'll see, oh, this property, you can actually use it for four different units, but they're just using it for 2 units. So
Mhm.
when the seller is selling it, you're buying it as a duplex.
Mhm.
But if you repurpose it, but not going through a zoning variance, you're just going by the law,
Mhm.
you're not doing as much as work as a zoning variance and all that goes. You're by right doing the 4 units or whatever it is that you're entitled, that the land is entitled for.
Mhm.
So in this case, the property was already the commercial property. It's already zoned for everything. And then all we had to do was just make it beautiful. But the seller sold it as if it was like one house,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now you still have tenant in there, and they're like, how many units there now?
Yeah, so we have we have a multi-units upstairs and then commercial on the bottom floor. And then yeah, we have good people that's coming through because it's a nice area. It's getting better. I want to buy more in the area, but the prices are getting really high. And I like that it's a corner property. So I like corner properties, and I think a lot of people are targeting corner mixed use properties.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So this is another case that I really like. is near Temple University. This was, I guess, a famous hair salon before for many years, many decades. And I guess the person passed away, and then it was kind of abandoned for a while. And this was actually up for sale for 150, but the wholesaler sold it to us, so we gave him a 50,000 fat check assignment fee. So it was, purchase price was 200,000, and then we anticipated the construction cost to be 240, but this is a very conservative number. This is the number that we gave it to the bank, and the closing cost was about 36,000, which was our out of pocket. We paid 36,000. So how we did the calculation on our end is that, let's say, the estimated conservative rental income per month for this property is 8,500. Times 12 months, it will be $102,000 yearly rental income. And this is long-term rental. Even if you want to do short-term later, you have to always base your number on the long-term. And then, so approximate NOI was 72,000 for this one. Taking 6% vacancy, because it can't be vacant at any time. 5% management fee, 5% repairs and maintenance, and taxes, insurance, everything out. So, and then, depending on the area, 6, 7, 8 cap, 72,000. This is like a student housing you can also do. So, I use different cap rates. So it was anywhere between 910 over to 1.2 million. We bought it at 200,000, and I'm putting less than 240, and I'm getting it appraised for that much money. And I'm like, this is no brainer. We just do it. It is a big property. So we had to, it's still going on, and we just love it. So if the property was valued at medium number, 1 million, the cash out 75% would be 780,000. We pay off the loan, which was why is it not 440? I don't know why it's 42. But we pay off the loan 440, and then it will be cash out of 300 something for this deal.
Oh my God, like the number is just like mind blowing. Because you
Yeah, so
buying
this
at
is
200K.
Yeah, and then this, I'm talking about only this building here, and this is Andre. This building only. I bought the building on next door too. We bought.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
underneath is 3 commercial in total, and there's 3 residential and 2 residential here. There's 5 residential and 3 commercial buildings, and we're really thinking about maybe putting in daycare business, or some type of business that will thrive over here.
That's really cool. So how do you find these deals? Like there are people complaining that, oh, there's no deals out there.
I get that question a lot, just because it's just like, you gotta ride the market, right? When the market is bad, it's actually usually really good time to buy, as many investors and successful people said. And then when the market is very competitive, still, you gotta ride the market, right? I bought a bunch of great properties with great numbers when one property was getting like 60 offers, for example. So it really depends on how you do it. It really, I would say that you have your number, you stick to it, you stick to that equation, don't change it, right? And then just understand the market very well, understand what your exit strategies are, right? And you can't have just one exit strategy, you have to have multiple, right? If worst case scenarios, what would happen and what would you lose? Would you be breaking even, or you'll be making less profit, or are you going to make deficit, right? Then, you have to have that kind of exit strategies. And a lot of times people don't think about, like, for example, like, I think I left a comment for you a long time ago in one of the posts, is that some people might think, if the property was market price 100,000 and they bought it at 80,000, they're probably very happy. Oh, I bought it, 20% down, like lower than the price. But then you gotta know, did you really buy at a right price, right? Because you gotta have your own equation. So it really, some people, like I witnessed a lot of times when a lot of West Coast friends, they see the properties in Philly and they're like, holy moly, this is so good. The price spreads are good. The amount of money, like I can do this all day long. You know, that's what they say. And I understand that, but at the
Mhm.
same time, you know, not all deals that you see are good. There are certain number of certain number that you can offer to that property, you know. So you need to be able to see that. In order for you to see that, you got to do researches. You got to develop your eyes to of you know, being able to tell which area is good, which this price is good for this area. In some Philly areas, I don't buy, you know, like,
Mhm.
and then I would ask my investor friends, or I ask my husband, like, what do you think about this,
Mhm.
right? So it really depends on your, you know, just stick to your numbers, stick to your analysis, and then when you see the property that it fits your criteria, just go get it. Just put the offer in, you
That's awesome.
know. Yeah.
Is that the end of your
I think so.
presentation?
Yeah, for me, you know, that's it.
Cool, cool. Yeah. So connect with Sujan, guys. Like always, good to know another investor, especially when you in a Philly market or you want to invest in Philly. She's the expert there.
Yeah, so I see the questions that Minjay says, okay, Ben, your question is very deep. So there's a lot of goals that let's see.
I'm gonna stop screen sharing so we can see your beautiful face.
Yeah, I got lost. Oh, okay, here. So before going to Ben's questions, why don't we answer Minjay's question with the short-term rental regulations?
Yeah, she asked how are the short-term rental regulations in Philly.
I wish you know, I didn't have to answer this question, but the short-term rental is kind of basically banned, right? You have to have a certain zoning variance to get this done, to do the short-term rentals, and also what do you call it? You have to have a zoning higher than CMX3, which is very difficult, right? The buildings that I just showed you, it's one of the biggest buildings. They're CMX 2.5 or CMX 2. So 3 buildings is basically hotel. So this ordinance that was passed by one of our councilmen is it's really for encouraging, you know, hotels or bigger commercial operators to do Airbnb. So it spans, you know, I don't know the exact number, but it spans 80-90% of the Airbnb operators in the city right now. So this, you know, it's unfortunate, but you can't really do short-term rentals like the way you did before. These days you have to go through the whole zoning variance and all that operator license, and just more regulated, a lot more. But outside of Philly, there are areas that you can still do without having to do too much of a licensing process. And I'm just gonna leave it that, because I'm not going to be able to provide any legal advice on that.
Cool. So
Yeah.
Eliza asked, how about medium-term rental?
Okay. So first of all, can we apply this strategy to any market? Yes, you can, absolutely. You want to find the areas where the median income is higher, and so that the people. So let's say, you know, first of all, short-term rental is not as glorious as everybody thinks it is. It's a lot of work, a lot of systemization, a lot of preparation. If you want to do it, that's fine. But you know, I always base my numbers on long-term rental, because worst case scenario, I will be renting it out to long-term tenants, right? So in terms of market, choosing the market, you want to choose the market where your long-term tenants are not going to squat there just because they wanted to, right? So Philadelphia, again, it's a very pro-tenant state. So people can just break into a house, and then, you know, if they have the mail to their, you know, to their name, and I'm sure New York is worse or the same, is that they will say, hey, I live here. This is the proof. I don't have lease, I don't pay, but I still live here. And you can't legally like kick them out until you have to go through, if it's a squatter without a lease and it's not your tenant, you have to go through ejectment process, which is a lot. It's an actual lawsuit. So for a longer time period. evict, and during time, a lot of people lose their property while going through that process. So, but back to this question is that, you know, BRRRR process is possible in any market, even outside of, you know, as long as they have cash out refinance, right? In any country too, right? As long as the country offers that, and then it's enough LTVs, loan to values. But there's certain strategies I can send you, Eliza, personally, but there are areas that you want to focus on, right? The markets that the prices are coming up, and also you want to target the areas where, you know, basically the median income is increasing or high enough already, but the appreciation is still coming, right? And for medium-term rentals, usually is Vivian here? Okay. There's an expert lady. Yeah, there's an expert lady about medium-term rentals. But in medium-term rentals, I've been looking into it. There's a lot of different methods. You know, you can work with insurance relocation services to really specifically just, you know, provide the rentals to the relocating people or refugees or people who are coming from immigration support system. You can also do, like, you know, nurse practitioner or nurse professional traveling nurses, right? So you can provide that. Diana and I know a lady, what's her name? Maria.
Maria down. Yeah.
Yeah, so Maria, we know a fellow investor who's doing medium-term rentals to the travel nurses, and she's very successful at it. So it, you know, it really depends on the market, right? If you're far away from hospitals, or like you're in the middle of nowhere, you kind of will have a difficult time renting it out to medium-term rentals and other professionals. Did I answer your question, Eliza?
Well, my experience with medium-term rental was not that way, so I would not recommend it. It's like, you know, how long-term have the benefits and the worst thing about it, and short-term rental also have the benefit and worst thing about it. It's kind of like how the worst of both.
Well, what was your bad experience with medium-term rentals?
So because at medium term, you have a longer vacancy. So it kind of offset your profit. It also not really high price like short term. So it's kind of like medium price, not really good price like a medium, like a short term, and you still have to clean it. And with short term, they don't come and ask to look at it. But with medium term people, they want to come look at it. And the people
That's
that
true. It's a
live
little
in there,
more.
the people living there don't want to show it because they think they like Airbnb guests, they entitled to the property. And they're not a long-term tenant that have a lease, that have like kind of thing to have to let other people to look at the property and stuff like that. So you have to be really careful and really professional on how to navigate all of those, I guess. So hence the expert coming in, right? So yeah.
There are ups and downs of getting it rented to professionals. There's you know, it could be hands off, it could be very hands on, depending on what kind of person you get. So we only accepted midterm rentals through you know, short-term rental platforms, right? So we've only had like the rate of short-term rentals, or maybe a little bit of discount, but not too much. It's not closer to long-term rental at all. It's closer to short-term rentals, because for that reason, right?
Yeah,
because there will be higher vacancy.
Yeah.
Minjae says, I think Sophie asked this earlier, but how are you finding these deals, particularly mixed-use properties? Minjae, where are you located?
So I'm in Austin, but I'm actually thinking about moving to Philly potentially. So yeah, just curious, like nationwide, like how do you find mixed use properties? I think I've been on like .loop.net or whatever, but it's kind of hard. Yeah, it's hard to find mixed use specifically.
for example, Ben here is a great agent in PA in the greater Philadelphia area. I'm not missing anybody else, right?
Thanks, Susan.
Diana, you're not a real estate agent, are you?
I am not, but thank you for that contact. I might reach out to him now.
Ben is in Bluebell. Diana is in Bluebell too, right?
Oh, yes. Hey, Ben. Well, we need to connect then.
You guys have same last name too. Yeah,
Sure.
Nick is right. Lupne is where the deals go to die. For commercial properties, right? Mixed use is commercial, but when it's on commercial realm, it might not be in the best price. It just depends on situation, right? So why I was talking to the agent is that you want to build relationship with an agent if you're not an agent yourself, and then ask them to set up your criteria, right? And they have an ability to send you an auto email saying, let's say if you want a property that's less than $200,000 in Fishtown, for example, and there won't be a lot of deals like that, but as soon as a deal hits the market, you get it on the first thing in your email. So you ask the agent to do that for you. And also you put yourself on Zillow too. I mean, people say, okay, how do you get to your properties? And they think that there's a secret doorway of getting like wholesale or like off-market properties, but sometimes off-market properties can be worse than on-market properties. So, as long as you know what your numbers are and what your strategies are, you're gonna be okay. So for us, how we found the mix, all of our properties was 90% on MLS, on market, right? Zillow. Like I bought this particular property when I was in Colombia. I saw it in, for the people who live around there, it was in Balakinwit, 2 parcel land, 1 haunted house on it, and it was $145,000. And I'm like, I have to buy this because this is where like the rich people live. So I was like, okay, this is gonna, I have to buy it. And I actually bought it without actually seeing it. And I knew it's just the numbers made sense. I don't have to go see it, right? So it's just about you continuously looking the numbers and the properties. If the Philly is your area, then go look at the properties in Philadelphia every day, right? And you'll start to realize that some areas, you will see particular amount of money that's coming up, like the sales prices. And then you need to do more research in macro level, like, median income, how much are the local rents are going for 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom houses, things like that. But if you're, it really depends on your strategy. If you're looking for commercial properties, then you talk to a commercial broker. It's better. Unless, except for you going on LoopNet or Cruxy you can just to feel the market. Yeah, I mean, Nick, do you have a specific, what do you call it, recommendation for Minjay?
I mean, definitely speaking to the brokers in the area you want to specialize in is really helpful. CoStar is also pretty great overall. I mean, CoStar and LoopNet are owned by the same company, but you pay to list on CoStar. And so that's why usually there's a lot more traction over there. And LoopNet's just where the trash goes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally agree. But it's like $1,000 a month for CoStar though. So
that's why you need to talk to a broker who pays for that already.
Exactly. I agree with you then.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, Sandeep.
Hi, Sophie. How are you?
Good.
I just saw the Facebook update and I was missing the last few sessions you've been doing. I thought I'll jump in.
That's awesome. Are you the Sandeep that I know? Yay! Hi.
Hi.
I guess, yeah, I remember you. You wanted to connect to Chloe because you're doing the development in East Austin as well. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you guys
So
connected.
what we are doing is working with homeowners and putting a condo regime and permits to build in place for just the backyard unit. So their backyard becomes a sellable developmental land. And then a developer, whoever is interested in building, can buy that land and start building on same day. We have now 3 deals that we are applying permits for and will be in market in 2 to 3 months with more. So yeah, interesting things we are learning about applying for permits, understanding the build potential, and all the steps that go into it. For builders, it's like there is no permitting surprises, there is no holding cost, there is no demo cost. You just buy and start building. And I think with the new resolution that got passed in Austin that allows you to build 2 units in your backyard, the potential for these deals will be much better and bigger.
Really,
Sorry,
you
go
can
ahead.
build two as ADU?
Yes, there's a new resolution that got passed, probably will take 6-8 months for it to become a law. But on SFR 3 lots, you can build now 2 ADUs, total 3 units.
Oh my God, yeah. We need to talk later. I have 3 lots in a row.
Wow.
Is this in
So
Austin?
we can, in
Yes.
Austin, maybe we can build 6 over there.
Oh, you can build a multifamily now.
Cool, that's awesome. I like the idea. Thank you for showing, Sandeep. So any other question for our lovely Susan?
I see on Facebook there's Lana.
Yeah,
She says, do you have to get 100% occupancy to do cash out, or can you do a forecast? I don't think there will be any lenders who would do a forecast in this market, especially. I've heard some people doing that. But it's usually, but you have to get the properties rented already. And then it has to, the reason why you want to do 100 occupancy is because you have to pay for the mortgage amount and taxes and insurance. So they're not going to lend you money without being able to cover that, whatever DSC or they're applying to the loan.
yeah, makes sense. Like, well, that's like, and you and your husband work together really well. I think you guys like, one is like on the number, another is like just making things happen. Oh, Tony has a question.
Yes, just a quick question. So, hey, Susan, and thanks for sharing your journey with Sophie, and I relate so much because I live in Philly. So I kind of have one question, but just provide a bit background. So basically, I came from Vietnam to Philadelphia, studied at Drexel, and then when I'm student there, I just focused on my study, and I'll move to New York City to work in management consulting there for a few years. So I kind of know Philly, but not really kind of know Philly. So I just come back recently, and I have 2 property in Point-Priest area. So my question to you is like, so I think when you as a realtor, I mean as someone expertise in this area, and you look at all the market like maybe Oklahoma or Dallas, like the return on investment of cash flow over the property of value maybe will be higher in Oklahoma and Dallas, some area you see. But based on your point of view, like what kind of still opportunity you still see at Philly? Like you still see a lot there potential. That's number one. And number two is like any tips on any good area in Philly that you see that maybe be rising up in the future? For me, in the Point-Priest area, I just like, honestly, I don't know much. It's just I have my realtor before, and he like I bought the properties around I think 4 or 5 years ago, exactly the time when we see the rising, and I see the whole transformation in that area now. So I kind of lucky that I know a good friend to show me, but would love to see from your point of view as someone really expertise in Philly market here.
Yeah, definitely. Tony, were you on student F1?
I was on student F1, and then I got H1B and then green card, and on track for citizenship soon. So looking more in into maybe build my life here more.
Yeah. No, I was asking because we might share some a little bit similar
Yes.
perspective on the city. I
Yep.
did come here in high school.
Okay.
I was F2, but then I switched into F1, and so I know when I first came to the city, I was shocked. I went to Temple, and I was born and raised in Korea, so I was like, wow, like this is different than what I saw on TV, right? Like all that different images that are portrayed in the media for how Philadelphia is, right? And it's still a beautiful city. I just that there's some pockets. So the city, for those of you who are not in Philly, and that's why when Ninja said she was thinking about moving here, I see more people moving out. But maybe the population has been increasing, so I can't. It's just my personal experience of seeing people leaving the city for multiple reasons. So first of all, to answer, like, so South Philly is a very special area, in my opinion, right? I have some friends who has, actually a lot of friends invested in South Philly, and they do either new construction or the build-ups, right? It's very busy right now, and it's kind of gotten slowed down, and some people who are doing cash out refinance are having a lot of trouble because of the debt ratio, right? Debt to income ratio. The amount, the appreciation, and then the market, how much the tenants are able to pay didn't match. This went faster. So mortgage could be 2,700. People will only pay 2,200. So what happens is that, that gap between,
Yep,
unfortunately,
minus cash flow, yeah.
and then the city just raised up the taxes. It was crazy. Like one of our friends, her I think it was triplex or something, it raised like 7 times more than what it was. If it was $500, it's $3,500. And then one of my properties in Temple University, it also raised like $600 a month. So I'm like, okay, well, I can't lose the property, so I gotta pay for it. So I do that, but it was just still, the city is going through a lot of different changes, and I can't say if it's favorable to the business owners in Philadelphia in general. I would say, as also being a chamber president here for Korean American community, is that there's a lot of occasions that it's kind of harder to do business in Philly in general, right? Although there are a lot of helping hands, and councilmen and council members are trying to change different landscape, but as you can see in short-term rental, for example, it's banned, right? So it's actually discouraging a lot of different commercial activities, and then kind of we just know that it's hotels that took a big part in in that ordinance, because it's shutting down 80 to 90% of all the other ones that are not like hotel, right? So I think so. Going back to the question, Tony, number one question is, how do I think about the market, right, in Philly? Is that Philly's just going to be Philly, right? So what that means is that, like I said, as long as you run your numbers, and when you run your numbers, you take into account that how long it's going to take for you to do a permitting process, if there is any, right? And also, like in South Philly, for example, there's like small streets that a truck or even a regular car can't even go in, right? So you want to avoid buying that kind of properties, for example, right? Like something specific to this market is something that you need to do a research on. Like I just got a deal from a friend of mine. I saw the text, and I know right away, even the numbers work, I'm not going to buy in that block. So another thing about the city is like it's block by block. So like a lot of properties we bought and we buy are in North Philadelphia. The reason being is some areas, the numbers just doesn't work, right? The appreciation and the amount of money that people are going to pay, the market just doesn't work. So that's why we are also now focusing on other areas like suburban. Yesterday we were just driving around the backside of Ballackinwood and then looked around a lot. So I wouldn't say stop buying in real estate. I mean, stop buying real estate in Philadelphia. It is still, there are good deals out there. The only thing is that, maybe the LNI would not make sense on certain things. LNI it's a license and inspection. It's a code enforcement department that it's very inefficient at the moment. So it's a very big frustration for a lot of developers and builders in the city. So you could try to see if that's not something that you want to deal with. Maybe you can go to an area that does not, maybe the township, right? For example, this house, when I was dealing with the township code enforcement guy, it was like right away. He would call me on the same day. He would email me back on the same day. So it's faster. So it just depends on what your game plan is. What was your second question?
I mean, still the good area that in your point of view. Yep.
Again, it's depending on the person's, investment criteria and their philosophy.
Yeah.
But if you want to buy in an area where it's up and coming, right, you can. And I will. but at the same time, I'll weigh the prices of holding it until it goes up, right? Does it still make sense? So that's why I have a bigger spread on my deals, because I can hold on to that until it goes higher than what it is right now. So
So I
Yeah, I
guess
would-
it's like, I guess it's like a very specific market where you have to understand the block, even like block by block, right?
kind of, yeah. Philly is very block by block, and a lot of my guests, they say that like, oh my God, there's drug dealers outside, right? Because if they come from this, so everybody knows Kensington. Kensington is where
Mhm.
a lot of drug addicts are kind of
Yeah.
gathered up together. I have a property that's nearby, but Kensington is also very close to Fishtown, which
Very
is a
close to
very
Fishtown,
hip
yeah.
place, right? It's very nice place. So if the guest comes through the Fishtown area, they are happy. But if they're coming from the north, where they're coming from the Kensington area, they are not happy, right? So it just, the city is very diverse in a sense where you will see different scenes that you might not have seen before. So yeah, I mean, Philly is Philly, like again, so with the numbers, you just want to make sure the numbers work and your exit strategies based on the market, based on the area, right? It will be different if you're buying the property in Norris Square, like right next to Fishtown where I bought it, versus Temple University or near West Philly, Drexel and UPenn, right?
Yeah.
It might be different when you're buying, Lancaster or like 52nd Avenue versus like, I don't know, like North Philly, North 5th Street or
Mhm.
Northeast, Castor Avenue, right? It's gonna be all different.
Gotcha. No, thanks, Susan. I think definitely I see a lot of insight. I mean, because you work on this every day. It's just from my point of view, like when as a student, I moved to New York and then I'll come back, I see the entire university city area transform.
Oh
And
yeah.
recently in Chinatown, a lot of new building. I just see like a lot of new construction going on in Philly. And I gotta understand that, oh, maybe it's fast growing and things like that. But when we look deeper into that, so thanks for your insight. Appreciate it, Susan.
Yeah. So yeah, developments have been really increasing, especially because there was 10-year tax abatement, and also like there were good numbers, right?
Mhm.
But like I said, in South Philly, for example, higher prices, all good, appreciated very well, but the people, they can't go. Philadelphia has a serious poverty issue, so people can't pay for it. So who's going to pay for that?
Mhm.
So it's a shame. And I hope that in November you guys will vote for the right people. There's a mayor election. So you need to know what your, either Democratic or Republican, look over the party and see who's going to be able to offer the right solution for this crisis as a
Mhm.
mayor.
Mhm. Thank you, Susan.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have
Yeah,
another
so-
question, I think. Minche asked, why are folks moving out of Philly? For you to moving in, Minche, but let Susan answer it.
I mean, personal experience, right? I don't represent everybody in Philly. Personal experience is that it's just dangerous to live. It's a lot of violence, gun violence. Temple University has, well, a lot of hospitals in the city are getting gun trauma, like shot trauma patients, as much as the battleground, like actual battleground, not the game, like actual war zone. So that alone, I've seen people who are getting shot in the house when they're just in the house because there's violence all the time. I know that a lot of developers are also leaving just because it's not good to do business here, according to them. But there are some people who are specializing still in the Philadelphia region as well. So, I've, a lot of, I can only speak for Korean community because, I've been studying about that, is that a lot of Korean community have moved out of the city to live in the suburban, but still have business in the city because of the safety issue also. So yeah, I mean, but the what do you call it? The population, surprisingly, it actually increased over I gotta look at the statistic, but it increased. Sorry, that's my mom.
Oh, finally
Yeah.
you got in. Yeah. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
That's so cool.
Yeah, Ben. You said I feel people are leaving because COVID. I don't know.
Yeah,
Was
no,
it?
I felt like that was the trend where like that's why I was like so busy. Like a lot of people were moving to the suburbs. The last 2 years, and then of course I think 100% with the gun violence, like the violence as well. That's making people move as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I did see a lot of people buying outside of the Philly because it's just really crowded.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have any question for your daughter?
She doesn't speak too much English.
But I'm so glad that she's joining. I wish my mom can join one day when I was speaker, but I'm
She would
not.
be so proud of you, Susan. Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. She's a good mom for coming up here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, my husband is like said that I can establish an association called Spouses of Real Estate People, and now there's like parents of real estate people.
Yeah, no, spouses is a big subject, and the parents too. Like, I mean, being Asian American and immigrant is it's a big portion, right? Like, just because your parents and your whole culture wants you to study well, go to good college, and get a good job, and which is good. It's just it didn't happen to me that way. I just jumped right into the real estate when I was in the first year of college, and
That's
started.
amazing.
Yeah, no, I met my husband very early, so
Yeah.
I jumped into it right away in real estate wholesaling, talking to people as if I'm cold calling. I'm not really cold calling because they're the one who's calling me and I'm returning the call, but they're still really rude. I mean, we're in the East Coast. So, it really prepared me very well to the outside world, out of college, right?
Well, I wish I know real estate when I was in my 20s, but I wouldn't be even in the US anyway. So I saw a lot of people in their 20s start to invest in real estate, like Minche right here. And I was like, oh my God, you all set. Like, you don't know what you don't know, but you just keep doing what you're doing. You're already like well ahead of a lot of people financially.
Yeah, I think that people who come to join real estate later, they also have a very good start because they already have a vast experience of something, right? Like I know Vivian was in systems, right? And that can be used in her business as well. Chloe was in tech, and I believe she's also using that too.
She's in data, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of other people in this call.
Yeah, Sandeep also background in tech. Yeah.
In finance.
Yes. So that really helped talk to bankers.
Absolutely. It's the language, the lingos.
That's awesome. That's awesome, guys. Henry, any question? Milad?
No questions for me.
Cool.
Man?
Man, any question for Susan? No, maybe not. Okay. I think Minche will have a lot of questions, but you guys can, connect and talk to one another and see what
Yeah.
Minche can really move to Philly.
Minja, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 25.
Oh wow. That's a good time to do real estate.
That's awesome. Eliza, do you have any question or sharing?
Oh no, thank you. Yeah, I'll probably just I'll just message Susan if I have to. But yeah, thank you for that very good information. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Susan.
I heard that you and Susan established a fund now, and would you share with us more about your syndication and that fund that you're planning, Susan?
Yeah, so I'm not in any syndication, or I'm planning on doing it. Just because syndication model is something that I need to think about it more, and fund model too. Debt fund is something that I thought it would be beautiful, because I always wanted to own a bank, right? So when Benjamin asked me for a long-term goal, one of the financial goal is to have a bank to be able to lend money to people. And debt fund is kind of being a bank as a lender. It's not a bank, but you're lending people and you're making the money from that. And I think that I will find more meaning in applying my passion into it. I have to pray more about it to find out how specifically I will do it. But once you have the lending power, I feel that there's a lot of things you can do to help other people. And there's too many people there who are in disadvantage. Like, even myself, when I first started, there was nobody who would lend anything to me. Even credit cards, you can't open it because you just got your social security number getting a job from your school, right? So Tony would know that. So yeah, I mean, Sophie, were you like that too, or?
Yeah, I'm on H1B when I bought my business, so I couldn't even sign a lease, commercial lease, because I don't have anything here. So my friend had to help me to guarantee my lease for me. Good thing I have good relationship with people, so people willing to do that for me, and I'm forever thankful for that. And to start in real estate also, right? Like my friend also have a really good relationship with bankers in a sense that they be able to introduce me to the banker, and the banker, through the trust connection, lend me money.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, and it's also like asset-based lending, right? They know they're lending on a house, then the asset is the collateral, so they're not gonna lose anything. But they also have to trust us to perform.
Yeah, absolutely. And you I think you touched on the really important point where network and connection is very important, for sure.
Yeah, can't stress enough. Like without networking, I would not meet Susan. It was like 2020 when we were first talking and stuff, right?
And we never met yet.
We never met. Yeah, we never met, but we talked because I know like you also, like Nick Tang throwing events everywhere in New Jersey, Philadelphia, and New York. So that's why kind of like a pool of investors that we know together. So we have so many common connections.
Yeah, we almost met.
Yeah, we almost met, and then we talked. I was like, okay, just save all the story for this call, so it could be like a surprise for both of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
thank you.
thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story, and I'm very glad to see a lot of people here, and then being able to connect, really, because we share a lot of different things, right? So
Yeah.
it is more fun if you have challenges and obstacles.
Totally. Like more on the spouses of real estate and the family of real estate thing, but that definitely is some topic that we're gonna need to talk about, and a lot of people also concerned about that. So thank you so much, guys, and thank you for being here and listen to a story of Susan, like someone who did like more than 150 deals. She doesn't even count anymore, and she built so much, and she's been doing so much since college. Imagine. So have a good night, everyone, and the Monday real estate talks are gonna be temporarily end here, and I see you next Monday. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, Sophie.
Good
Thanks, Susan.
night.
Bye. Good night.
Nice meeting
Bye.
everyone,
Good night.
Sasha,
Thank
Tony.
you.
I will
Bye,
keep in touch with
everyone.
you, Susan. I'll follow you up.
Yeah, do you have my number?
Yeah, I scan it when it show on the last
Oh,
slide.
okay,
I'll text
cool.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you,
Cool.
Melad.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Thanks, chị Sophie.
Anh em.